Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a really crucial deep dive. We're looking at physical longevity, but maybe not in the way you usually think about it. We're focusing specifically on achieving lasting back resilience. And our foundation, it's maybe a bit surprising, it's this cornerstone of true strength, internal balance. We're drawing from the expertise of Alexandra Kash. She's a certified personal trainer and behavior change specialist. It's all laid out in her guide, Longevity Through Physical Activity, the 15-Minute Habit.
Yeah, it's a great source. And our mission here really is to try and fundamentally transform that fear of movement.
Yeah.
You know, the fear that so often comes with chronic back
Or
issues.
turn it into confidence, empowering.
Exactly. Cash argues freedom from back pain isn't about avoiding movement altogether. It's actually found by embracing it. Mindfully, though, that's the key.
Mindfully, okay. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the author defines balance itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like standing on one foot, is it?
No, not at all. It's presented as both a physical and an emotional skill, which is a really important distinction.
Okay. So it highlights that connection.
Precisely. Things like chronic stress or just, poor posture habits we all fall into, maybe even mental overload.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just tiring. It actively disrupts the harmony between your body's systems.
And that disruption costs you.
It does. It costs you stability, ease of movement, even inner clarity, mental clarity.
Wow. Okay. That reframes the whole thing right there. If the body and mind are that interconnected, then dealing with the physical structure, it must also help at the mental side, like a reset.
Absolutely. And stepping back, you see, the overall approach here really emphasizes that longevity isn't just defined by, say, muscle bulk or pure motivation. It's about sustained balance. And movement, when you look at it this way, it really becomes your greatest ally, in reclaiming your body.
I like that. Focusing on allies, not enemies, makes it less intimidating. So the source material, it outlines this systematic approach, calls it a blueprint for a stronger back. Now, this blueprint uses a pretty powerful structural analogy, doesn't it, to organize the 7 strategies. Could you maybe walk us through that basic idea?
Sure. It's quite intuitive, actually. Imagine your spine as the central pillar, the main load-bearing pillar of a building.
Okay, got it.
It's inherently strong, yes, but it just can't function correctly if the foundation around it is shaky or compromised. So if other parts of this structure think your hips or maybe your mid-back aren't doing their fair share of the work,
then the central pillar takes the strain.
Exactly. It suffers from overwork, from stress, and will eventually break down, pain. So this blueprint, it gives you the 7 key strategies you need to build that resilience from the inside out, stabilizing and balancing that critical central pillar.
Right. Building from the inside out. I like that. So let's lay the concrete then, starting with the first 2 strategies. Strategy 1 is finding and maintaining your neutral, described as your body's home base or maybe a reset button.
That's a great way to put it. Neutral is that position where the natural curves of your spine are optimally aligned. It means the structure itself is least stressed and your muscles can work most efficiently.
So not perfectly rigid all day.
Oh, definitely not. It's about consistency, about aiming to return to that good alignment, whether you're sitting, standing, bending, until it sort of becomes your default setting.
Okay.
And tying back to what you said about the mental side, finding neutral is also a physical pause. Think about it. When we're stressed, we often hunch or brace without realizing. Consciously returning to neutral, even for a moment, it provides this little physical self-regulation check-in. It can genuinely lower mental tension.
So it's both physical alignment and a kind of conscious release. That makes sense. And that leads pretty smoothly into strategy 2, spinal stability. Now, when people hear stability, I think they often jump to brace really hard or don't move at all.
Right, that common misconception.
But the author defines it as control, specifically not rigidity. How do we sort of clarify that difference?
It's a really crucial distinction to make. Rigidity is just stiffness. Control is dynamic. It's active. Stability means your deep core muscles are working together harmoniously, like a protective corset almost, or a safety net, as the book calls it.
A safety net, okay.
And this net, it allows you to move confidently without that underlying fear that your back might suddenly fail or give out.
Yeah.
The analogy used is walking on a narrow beam. You're not perfectly still, are you?
No, you're constantly adjusting.
Exactly. You're making these tiny, refined adjustments with your deep muscles to maintain balance. That constant, subtle control is true spinal stability.
Okay, dynamic control, not stiffness. But if stability is about staying controlled and central, how do we avoid just, turning into a statue? Where does the healthy movement, the mobility actually come from?
Now that's the core question of the whole blueprint, really. The central spine, your lumbar and lower thoracic, it needs to be stable. That's strategy 2.
That's A2.
The joints around it, they absolutely must be mobile to protect it.
Right, so the movement happens elsewhere.
Precisely. Strategies 3, 4, and 5 focus on those specific areas that need the flexibility. So strategy 3 homes on lumbar mobility, specifically gentle flexion.
Flexion meaning bending forward.
Yes, but gently. Your lower back, the lumbar spine, it actually has pretty limited movement by design.
Right.
But it does need gentle, high-quality movement. We're talking about a slow, deliberate bow, like a careful hinge forward. This kind of movement is essential. It helps relieve stiffness, and it actually nourishes the discs and the tissues around them. And the author really stresses that quality is everything here. Forcing extreme ranges, that's dangerous. Small, controlled movements are much safer and way more effective for keeping those discs healthy.
Small and controlled. Makes sense for the low back. And then strategy 4 targets the unsung heroes, as the book calls them, hip mobility. This feels like a really big one. I think a lot of people maybe miss this connection when they're dealing with chronic low back pain. Why are tight hips such a catastrophe for the back?
Yeah, catastrophe isn't too strong a word, honestly. Tight hips are probably the number one compensating culprit out there. Think about it. The muscles responsible for hip movement, your glutes, your hip flexors, they are powerful. They're designed for big jobs. But if they're restricted, tight, they just stop doing their job efficiently. And that workload, whether you're squatting down, bending to pick something up, even just walking, where does it go?
Upwards to the lower back.
Exactly. It gets transferred straight up to the lower back, causing excessive movement, overcompensation, and eventually pain. So unlocking the hips is absolutely essential. It frees up the spine to do what it's actually meant to do, which is primarily stabilize the core.
That makes so much sense, especially with how much we sit these days. Hips get tight, you stand up, bam, lower back takes the hit. Okay, so then strategy 5 moves up the chain. It addresses thoracic mobility, that's extension and rotation in the mid-back.
Yeah, the thoracic spine, your mid-back area. Yeah. Fundamentally, it's designed for rotation and extension. Like twisting, reaching back.
More mobile than the lower back then.
Much more. Think of it as the gateway to freedom because it's supposed to be highly mobile. But, due to modern posture, that forward slouch over computers, phones.
Guilty as charged.
We all are. That area often becomes really stiff. And when the mid-back stiffens up, it limits your ability to twist naturally or reach overhead properly. And guess where that movement strain gets shunted?
Downstairs again, to the lumbar region.
Right onto the lower, much less mobile lumbar spine. So improving your thoracic mobility directly takes pressure off your low back. It's a huge relief valve.
Okay, this is starting to paint a really clear picture. We need the foundation neutral, dynamic control stability. And then the right movement in the right places, mobility in the lumbar, hips, and thoracic spine. So what's left? We move to the final 2 pillars, strength. Strategies 6 and 7 focus on the powerhouse. Strategy 6 covers core strength. Now, we hear core thrown around all the time, but Kash stresses it's way more than just, the visible six-pack abs.
Oh, absolutely. That's just the surface layer. The true core is more like a protective corset. Think of it as a 3-dimensional cylinder of muscles. It includes the deep abdominal walls, yes, but also the diaphragm up top, the pelvic floor muscles down below, and those important low back muscles wrapping around the back.
A whole system.
It's an entire system. And when the system is strong and coordinated, it provides that deep intrinsic stability the spine desperately craves to feel safe. But when the core is weak or uncoordinated, that central pillar, your spine, is left vulnerable, especially to shearing forces during movement. A strong core fundamentally should enhance your movement, make you feel protected, efficient, even, dare I say, good.
Okay, a protective functional system, not just beach muscles. That brings us nicely to strategy 7, which I think is where maybe a lot of traditional programs fall a bit short. Functional core stability. We spend all this time on a mat building isolated strength, right? And then life happens off the ground, twisting, lifting, reaching. How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's the real world application piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Functional training bridges that crucial space between, say, the gym floor exercises and just everyday life. Because life requires you to move and twist and reach and bend while standing, where gravity and momentum are constantly challenging your stability.
Right, it's unpredictable.
Exactly. Functional core stability means getting smarter with your movements, not just stronger in isolation. It's about teaching your core to automatically anticipate, brace, stabilize, and respond to those unpredictable demands like, picking up a squirming toddler or quickly turning around when someone calls your name.
All while keeping that neutral spine.
All while maintaining that critical neutral spine alignment we talked about. That's the functional part.
Okay, 7 strategies building a resilient back from the inside out. Neutral, stability, mobility in the right places, and then layered with core strength and functional stability. So, what does this actually look like day to day? The author gives 3 simple no equipment exercises that line up perfectly with these principles. Just need your body and your breath. And these aren't about getting ripped fast, right? They're foundational resilience builders.
That's exactly it. These movements are designed for cultivation, not for instant gratification. They actually force you to be present, to check in with your body's mechanics, which aligns perfectly with that whole goal of daily self-regulation we discussed. Let's look at the first 2. They really focus on that foundational stability and mobility piece.
Okay. Exercise 1 is the bent knee fallout. What's the goal here, and how do we do it right?
The goal is explicitly testing that harmony between hip mobility, that's strategy 4, and core or spinal stability strategy 2. How you do it? Lie on your back, knees bend, feet flat on the floor. Then you place your hands, or maybe just your fingertips, on those bony points at the front of your hips.
The ACES bones.
That's them, the anterior superior iliac spines, for great little monitors for pelvic movement. Then very slowly, you let one knee fall outward towards the floor. Just let gravity take it.
Okay. And the key instruction here, I'm guessing it's about keeping something still.
You guessed it. The absolute critical instruction is that the pelvis must remain completely still, rock solid. As that knee drops out to the side, your hip bones, those ACES points under your fingers, must not rotate, tilt, or wobble even slightly.
So if they move,
you've gone too far. You've exceeded your current range of controlled movement for that hip while maintaining core stability. So you aim for maybe 10 slow, really mindful repetitions per side. Prioritize that core stillness over how far the knee actually drops. Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Got it. Makes sense for stability. Okay, moving on to the second exercise, marching. The goal here is foundational spinal stability, linking right back to strategy 2.
Yep. You start in the same position, lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat. And again, definitely use your hands on those ACES points to monitor. Are they staying level? Then you smoothly lift one leg up, bending at the hip and knee until your thigh is vertical, so it's about a 90-degree bend at the hip and knee like you're marching, but lying down.
Okay. What's the main thing to watch out for here?
The absolute primary instruction for marching is maintain a neutral spine. What often happens, the common compensation, is as you lift the leg, you feel your lower back flatten or push hard down into the floor, or maybe arch excessively.
Losing that neutral curve.
Exactly. If that happens, you're losing stability. You need to consciously engage those deep core muscles, think strategy 6, to keep that neutral alignment stable as the leg moves. Aim for 10 smooth, controlled reps per leg. Again, control is king.
Neutral spine maintenance during limb movement. Okay. Now for the final exercise. This one sounds maybe the most technical. The forward lean focused on multifudi activation. We probably need to define this for people. What are the multifidi and why are we singling them out?
Good question. The multifidi, they're a series of quite small, very deep muscles. They run right alongside and actually between the vertebrae of your spine. Think of them as crucial for segmental stability, segment by segment. Meaning they should be the very first muscles to fire, to stabilize an individual spinal segment, even before your bigger, more global muscles, like the big ones running up your back or your main abs, even begin to create the larger movement. If they don't fire correctly or on time, the spine is inherently unstable at that tiny segmental level, which can lead to micromovements, irritation, and, pain.
Wow. Okay, so they're like our deepest first line of defense for spinal stability. Makes sense to target them. How do we actually find them and activate them consciously?
Okay, so you stand tall for this one. Feet about hip width apart, soft knees. And here's where the self-check is vital. Place your fingers right next to your spine, down low in the small grooves of your low back. You might have to press in a little. Then you slowly lean forward from your hips, keeping your spine perfectly straight. It's a hip hinge, not a back bend.
Like bowing slightly.
Exactly. And as you lean, you're trying to feel for those tiny, deep muscles right under your fingertips engaging. They should sort of gently swell or tense up.
Okay. And what's the critical self-check for this exercise? You mentioned finding them, but what else?
The most critical check is ensuring both sides engage evenly and at the same time. Because of old habits, maybe past injuries or just imbalances, it's super common for one side to fire later or maybe feel weaker than the other.
An imbalance in those deep stabilizers.
Precisely. And if you feel that lag, one side kicking in delayed, the source suggests an immediate adjustment. Try placing the foot on the lagging side, just slightly behind the other foot.
Interesting. How does that help?
It often just changes the mechanics enough to help cue that weaker or slower side to activate properly. Then you repeat the lean, feeling for that even engagement. You do maybe 10 reps, focusing on that simultaneous firing. And as it improves, you can gradually bring your feet back closer together, making it more challenging again. This exercise directly teaches your deep stabilizers how to activate correctly, which is a huge win for Strategy 6, core strength, at its deepest level.
Wow. That's really specific, getting down to those tiny muscles. These 3 movements, they really do seem to embody that whole concept of building resilience from the inside out. A gateway to freedom, as the book says. But it's important to remember the author's warning, right? This isn't some quick fix.
Absolutely not.
It's about consistency, patience, and really honoring the process. Change takes time.
It really does. And stepping back for just a moment, what this entire approach boils down to fundamentally is awareness and listening, truly listening, to that constant conversation happening between your body and your mind. Alexandra Kash's core philosophy captures it perfectly. She says, balance isn't something we find once. It's something we cultivate daily.
Daily cultivation, not a destination.
Exactly. And movement, when you approach it with this kind of deep intention, it really becomes a language of self-regulation, of awareness, of renewal. Each conscious alignment you make, each controlled breath you take with these exercises, it helps restore your body's natural rhythm. And that lays the groundwork for a truly resilient, long-lasting physical life.
So the path to longevity, as we've heard today, it seems it begins not with chasing some kind of unattainable perfection, but just with genuine presence, being present in your own body. So maybe consider today, what small conscious movement could you incorporate right now? Maybe it's just practicing finding your neutral spine while you're waiting for the kettle to boil.
Or doing those 10 bent knee fallouts before bed.
Yeah. Just something small.
Yeah.
How could that simple, consistent act of presence start to change your whole outlook on your health, on your capabilities? Start there. Start today.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.